Well, hello there. Yes, it is I, Writ Ralph, and you are here for Apple Bites, where we take a bite out of everything and share it with you to let you know what we think it tastes like, or how it tastes, or, well, you know how that whole thing goes. And today we have special guest host, Charles W. Morgan.
Hey, what's going on there, Mr. Raphael?
Oh, everything's a blast over here. Dude, this week is crazy. It's chaos. I got a lot of people that want to get certain word and Kickstarters out there. So it's like a freaking countdown to Halloween this week.
It's been crazy for us too.
Shoo, man. I think I got a show every day,
Oh, wow.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to the end of the week, and it's all like a countdown to Halloween, and the supernatural horror spooky stuff that we're gonna have is gonna be amazing.
Well, that sounds very interesting. I can't wait to see it.
Me too. I want to see if I survive the week.
Yeah, that's gonna be a workload for you.
Oh man, so Charles, let's start off with you. Let's give the audience a little bit of information. Tell them who you are, what you do, and what you're working on, and what you're showcasing here today.
Sure. So I'm Charles W. Morgan. I'm the creator, writer, artist of Cold Cutter. Cold Cutter #1 is currently on Kickstarter. We just funded about a week ago, and we're probably about $600 above our funding level. So yeah, we'd like to get that a little higher, but I've been working on that. And the Kickstarter, like I said, it started out pretty slow, but it all picked up there about week number 3 in, and we got a cool trailer there that you've got it displayed on your screen that had some great help with Rob Powers and Phil Russert kind of helped put this thing together for me.
They can put a good Kickstarter together. I agree.
Yeah. So without them, I would be struggling to get something up on a page. You know.
Well, let's show off this trailer so people can get an idea of what's going on. And hey, they might even hear a familiar voice in it.
Yeah, your voice is actually on this. You're doing the voiceover. It's very good.
Thanks, I appreciate that. All right, let's roll the videotape.
3 a.m. Times Square, New York City. I can't sleep. Might as well come down to the street to get a smoke. The name is Dylan Cutter. My professional life as a private investigator has been interesting, to say the least. My personal life has all but been destroyed by the murder of my brother and partner by a drug lord named Jambo Jones. He's now on death row to get his.
I gotta admit, they did put together a good trailer.
Yes, sir, they did. But your voice really pulls that off.
I appreciate that.
I remember sending you this, and I'm going because you asked me to do some type of example for you or whatever, and I'm just like, I've blown this. Hope he can do something with this because I got this southern drawl accent going on that I'm trying to get rid of for these live streams, but it's hard to do.
Well, accents always make you pretty interesting, so let's see what happens.
Okay, 10-4.
All right, so you're at 2,579. You got 40 backers, 3 days to go. So let's get some more money flowing in there, guys, because we need to get a nice cushion there. Because like we always like to say here at Bitten Apple TV, there's always better when the project has a little bit of cushion money, because the funding is great, but you always need that extra money to like get things going and figure out what you need to do to get going. And it helps the project. It helps you like do future projects. It helps you do everything, because nobody's making a profit here.
Nobody's making a profit. I'm just trying to, get set up to do the next book, to be honest, and that's what actually help us do the next book. So
exactly.
Any extra we could get would be awesome at this point.
All right, so you guys go in there, support, make sure this thing gets a little higher there. Come on, let's get it to 3,000 at least. A little bit more, it'll be great. Come on, we got 3 days to go.
Thank you. Yes, sir. That's right. We got after tonight it'll be 2 days. So yeah, we're getting pretty close to the end here. I've got I've added a sketch cover tier by Joseph Rubenstein. So if
Mm.
you'd like to get a really cool sketch cover, there is a tier on there that I've added. And you know, legendary comic
Joe
book artist
Rubenstein, yeah,
Joseph
he's a great
Rubenstein.
guy. We actually interviewed him a couple years back.
Yeah, he's a great inker, artist all around. He just you know, he's kind of like my mentor, my teacher, and you know, I owe a lot to him as far as my ability to ink and finish in the way that I can do it now. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I have to admit it was fun doing the voiceover. I love private investigators, and I love noir. So it's just all right up my alley.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad you that you like noir. I've always loved it. You know, there's a lot of influences, obviously. Frank Miller, you know, the whole Dark Knight thing. That was noir. You know, he just applied it to superhero, and we'd never seen before. It was just like, oh wow.
Oh yeah, but that's the whole thing. That's the whole fun of it. You can put noir into everything. You know, it doesn't just have to be detectives. But you know, that's where people think about it the most. You know, and
Right.
you know, and I always had that voiceover in my head going on the whole time. And I feel like I'm in a noir detective comic at the whole all the time.
Yeah.
Rob
Yeah, so-
goes over to the sink. He picks
Yes.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
Yes,
yeah,
that's a picture of Joseph Rubenstein right there.
yeah.
He has a little bio there, and he actually did the cover C. He collaborated with me on a cover. I penciled it. He inked cover C, and it was colored by Jesse Hagee, and it just really turned out beautiful. And I just really believe in the book. I believe in my story. I believe that you'll enjoy it too. Y'all watching out there, if you want to just take a chance on it, just ask you to take a chance on one book. You can get a PDF for $5.
I think people forget that they can support this at a lower price and get the PDF. You know, especially if you guys are into like the comics. You know, the digital comics. You know, it's a good way to go, and you can still support something. You know, you put a little bit of money in there and get the comic book in a digital format.
Right. We've unlocked the 3 stretch goals. We got one more stretch goal, way out at 4,000. I don't know if we're going to make it there, but who knows? We got 2 days after today. So
Yeah, it's possible. You know, that's the whole thing about Kickstarters. You never know what's going to happen. It can just pick up and go. It can stall. It can, you know, it's a roller coaster ride for Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's right. It really is. I found that out.
Yeah, that's the scary thing.
Yeah. That's that right there. The cover you're looking at right now. That's the one that Joe collaborated with me on, and or I collaborated with him. But
they're great covers, and they have that noir feeling to them. You know.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
They're full color. Most of them, like if you scroll back down, the other one's kind of a black and white with red. That's my black and white blood cover.
This is classic noir right here. It's completely, you're just taking it back to its old element.
I just wanted to put something in there that just kind of grabbed you and just kind of in your face. That's in your face cold cutter cover.
Oh, definitely. That's completely in your face. There you have it. Those are the 4 covers. They're all fantastic. They're all very noir feeling. That is Cold Cutter. And, you know, help support. You know, if you guys like a good detective yarn, that's what you got here. A nice little good detective yarn. And it's always great, you know, and people forget that a lot of these are the kind of books that started off the comic books in the old days.
Yeah, that's right. You know, back in the 30s and 40s, there was a cartoonist named Alex Raymond. He actually did a comic strip called Rip Kirby. So I was introduced to that. So I bought this big collection of Rip Kirby. So it's a big hardback. It covers like every comic strip he did from 48 to 51 or something like that, and I was like, this stuff is just awesome, you know. So I really enjoy reading that, and just different crime noir style books and comics.
Yeah, definitely, and I, if people forget, there was horror, there was noir, there was, then the hero stuff started coming in like later on.
Later on, yeah, and then it's pretty much that what drives a lot of the comics we see.
Yeah.
But it's just I always want to do something a little different. So I said, I'm gonna do a crime noir. That's just what I enjoy.
It's a good way to go, and it goes, like I said, it goes back to the classic comic books.
And I
Speaking
did
of
the
noir,
interior.
go ahead.
Yeah, all the interiors are black and white, so you have that.
Oh, it's
classic
classic feel. Yeah.
It's set in a modern day time. It's modern Manhattan, so it's kind of like a different take, I guess.
Well, you know, that's the fun thing about this stuff. Like, right now I'm working on a film that has a 70s feel to it, but it's set in modern times.
Cool.
And I like that whole concept. You know, it's like let's make it feel like something, but at the same time, it's in a whole different time period.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh,
I'm kind of
definitely.
playing around with genres too in this thing.
Yeah.
I've got a little bit of it's mainly crime noir, classic style crime noir, but I've also got a little Western thrown in there. So it's got
You get the feeling from it. Mm-hmm. It has that feel of, you know, that old man with no name type of a Western, spaghetti Western.
Yeah. So yeah, that's, I mean, you know, that's just what I've been working on this book for probably a year and a half. And, you know, I wrote the script out, did all the thumbnails, and, you know, then I took it to the little step further, and then on to Bristol boards, doing the sequentials. But I already had my sequentials mapped out ahead of time. And I try to work that way so that everything kind of flows with the story, and have the story completed before I start drawing anything.
Right.
So that you know where you're going, so you don't end up halfway through and go, wait a minute, I don't have room to do all this stuff.
Oh, you know, that's the good thing about the fact that you're an artist as well as the writer, because, you know, as art deficient as I am, you know, my little stick figures help me out, but you know, they're stick figures.
Well, you know, it's interesting you brought that up. I've always been a fan of all art that I enjoy, but the ones that I really enjoyed reading the most were the writer-artist team. I mean, like where the writer was the artist also. I really love John Byrne's work.
Oh, John Byrne's amazing, yeah.
He wrote and did the art on the Fantastic Four run. That was probably my favorite run of any comic book series ever, was that. And of course, Frank Miller, you know, he was a writer-artist as well. And Jim Starlin, that's also one of just three of my main influences that I really thought.
All greats.
You know,
amazing greats, yeah.
It's just something about that flow you get, you know, when the same mind is putting it all down, you know. Not saying I'm in their group at all, but I'm just saying that's what I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, but that's a good place to go, a good place to be, a good place to try to emulate. So
yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's just kind of some influences that I enjoyed when I was coming up as a youngster in my teens in the 80s, and you know, always reading that and drawing, and you know, just want to turn it into something that later I could do as a book. I want to put a book together with a series that I could just have a comic series, you know, and then this is the start of it. This is my launching point, you know.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere. You got to get it going. You got to get it flowing. I like to always tell people, get the first thing out there, and then, you know, you can see where you're going to go with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's the best way to go.
Yeah, I guess that's what you have to do. And
yeah.
I tell you, I've had a lot of help. I've had great help, you know, from you and you know, Phil Russert.
Yeah,
legendary illustration
Powers and Rubenstein. You got a good team going there, man.
Yeah, and Kenny Calderon, you know, Kenny Calderon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he did a cover for me. It's the blue cover that you scrolled through a while ago. So yeah, I've had a lot of good help with that, and being able to put things together. Just been great.
It's funny though. Our next guest, D.W. Kann, you know, he has his Lovecraft PI, you know, and you know, like I said, I love noir, and the reason I had both of you on is like, okay, I got two noir detectives going on, except one of them is a bit supernatural.
Okay, a little bit more. Cool. How you guys doing tonight? Cool. Thank you.
Hey, great. Thanks for joining us, DW. I wanted to have
thank you for having,
especially because, you know, I really, when we saw you at Terrificon, this thing just stood out to me. And like I said, I circled you a couple times. I'm like, okay, I got to go over there and talk to him.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming over. You know, how did you have you had a chance to take a look at it?
I had a chance to start reading it, and then life got in the way.
Yeah, of course. No, I got a stack of those too.
dude, it's so funny. I got farther in this one than I did in half the books that I have over here, and I'm like, damn, I really need to like have a day where I like kick everybody out the house and go, I'm reading.
Right. Exactly. Well,
let's start off with this. Tell the people what this is back here, because you sold me when you told me the your spiel. So first,
sure.
Tell them who you are, what you do, and we'll discuss this, and then we'll get into Reanimator.
Sure. No, my name is D.W. Kann, and the owner and CEO of Darkside Media, and we've been putting out various comic series for the last, I don't know, almost 10 years. And Lovecraft PI is our baby. And Lovecraft PI follows Detective Ward Lovecraft from the 1920s and 30s while he's fighting cosmic creatures pretty much all over the world, interdimensionally, and in the dreamlands. So in various stories that we have are, the first one that Raphael was talking about takes place in Innsmouth, 1937. So that kind of lends itself into the shadows over Innsmouth mixed with Dashiell Hammett. And then our second book was The Curious Case of Reanimator, which kind of spawned off our little sequel or prequel of what we're doing behind me. And then we also did a crossover with the Miskatonic High guys, Mike and Ryan Mendoza. And those guys are great because I discovered them on Kickstarter actually a few years ago, and I really like kind of their vibe of what they do. And there's stories about a group of kids that go to Miskatonic University, and they deal with Lovecraftian capers. And theirs is all modern times, so we wanted to do kind of a crossover, a little fish out of water. So we had our character come to the future, and then we took them to the past, and it was a fun little crossover we did for 2 issues. Put out a trade, and because of that, I kept all that in my canon. And so we did a little epilogue at that, and that sent my character off into unknown reaches of the Dreamlands. And now I've got 2 of my characters of the same guy, Lovecraft, running around in 2 different worlds. So that's been kind of fun creating all that and trying to see how I can make it all work. And because doing it as a comic form, it's tough because you can either do 50 comics trying to explain this one thing, or you could try to mash it into 3. So It's been tough trying to kind of wrangle it all in, but we're getting there. So we'll have a couple of books out next year, with that stories.
It's funny because you say that because the way to do the way it used to be, it was like you did a bunch of issues and you got to where you had to go. Now, with the graphic novels, you have to figure out how to do all that in a shorter time period.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have another series that we're doing called Berserker Soul Island, which when we started Lovecraft PI, 10 or plus years ago, I wanted to also have another series to kind of, coincide with that. So if one was being released, then I can release the next one.
Right.
And, but with Berserkers, it was an 8-issue limited series. So part of the thing is I didn't really want to start releasing it until enough of the issues were done. Because of my experience, and I'm sure you guys may have had this happen too, things just, go sideways and a book may not get finished. So, I want to get them all done. So we're actually in the process of coloring book 8 right now. Nice. And we just wrapped up our book 6 campaign right before this Reanimator one. So everybody's excited. They seem to really like the series a lot. They're sticking with me, and we've got 2 more issues to go before we wrap it up for next year. And people are pretty psyched. And it was sad kind of closing that chapter because I've been with those characters for a very, very long time. And but it was kind of also exhilarating too to see it kind of come to a close.
Is it a close, or is it just a close and let's go on to the next story?
Well, let's just say that, when you get to the end, there's always an opportunity.
Okay, there we go. But
so, you never know.
What ends up happening is sometimes, especially when you're doing conventions, you need to have a couple of issues so that, people can look at it and see it. And if,
right.
And most people will pick up 1, 2, maybe 3 right. if you have them. And then, people start to get a feel of your character when you have more than 1 issue, especially at a convention.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I tried doing that early on when we just did a short run of the first couple of issues, but it was hard trying to get people coming back, just online. So, by the time we get the omnibus done of this, I mean, we're looking at about a 400-page book. Nice. So, it's definitely going to be well worth it. And, the funny thing is the story itself only takes place over a 24-hour period. So, wow. It's following these characters to the situation, and it's about a virus on an island in 1950, that turns people into berserkers. And so they're coming after you with, weapons. They just want to, harm you, for lack of a better term. So they don't want your brains. They're not zombies or anything like that, but it's for a reason. They're not just doing it, but
I just want to hurt you.
Yeah, exactly. But you figure, what do you got? You have 24 hours during a hurricane when this is all happening in 1950, and there's no cell phones and you don't know what's going on. So it's just it's been an interesting kind of play and all that stuff. And we've been working on this. I mean, we wrote the script back in the late 90s and for a feature film, which never got picked up. And then we turn it into a comic. So we've been working on it for 10 years. So it's been a long run.
That's a while.
Yeah, it's a long time to be dedicated to it. But we love it. It's a lot of good characters in it, and people seem to be taking to it. So that's been very helpful,
I gotta admit, as I was looking through your table and I was looking through your stuff, you have this catchiness to everything, and especially because it's a joint universe, and people love Lovecraft. So
Right. Right.
I feel like you just have like something going for you there that helps you out to get your stuff out there, and the art and story help you out completely. So,
thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's Lovecraft is such an it's an amazing universe because you can just read a sentence of his any of his stories, and that can spun off a panel, a page, a book, So that's been the hardest thing for me to do is just to because I do a lot of research within his writings as well as himself and his letters and so on and so forth, so trying to add all those little nuances in there. I mean, writing it as a novel would be which we are actually working on right now, is a slightly easier because you have a lot more room, breathability. But with a comic, as you guys know, it's trying to get a lot of information to a panel is sometimes extremely difficult.
It is. Oh, believe me, like the more I'm working on my own comic, the more you realize that getting that comic script the way it needs to be done to fill that one issue, or if you're doing a single issue, because then it becomes more difficult.
Right.
Kind of like if you're doing a graphic novel, you got a little more room to play with because now you can actually get your story in before you run out of time.
Right.
With one issue.
Oh yeah. Well, it's always the case that the problem I always have is that I always go over the page count that I want to I'm aiming for. So I feel with Reanimator, we're actually came in under our page count, but we're actually adding more onto the book. So which I'll explain. But so it's just one of those things where you try to aim for more or less of what you're going for. But I always feel this is what's kind of nice with comics. It's you have that latitude of making it however long you need it to be.
That's true, especially if you're independent. When you work for Marvel, they have a certain thing that you got to do. When you're independent, you're like, okay, so our book is going to be 32 pages this time. Next time,
right?
But again, like you're saying, I know a lot of people sit there out there going, "What are you talking about, Ralph?" But sometimes getting what you want into that, and then you got to find the pacing for that one issue because you have to have a pacing. You have to end it where in the place where it should end. Not in a place where you feel like, okay, I think you ended it early there, and that's all. It's a lot of complicated stuff there.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I wanted to really test myself on how we can parlay what I'm trying to say in the writing to my crew. And so we have, which we'll put up on our Patreon first, but we did a 5-panel, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, it's a 7-panel comic strip, but we based it off the old Dick Tracy platform, template. So you've got, the character up in the left corner. And for ours, what we're doing for these particular things, because we're doing it for our Patreon members, is it's kind of like our little monster of the week. So for the first one we're doing is a Zoog, which is a character from the creature from the dreamland. So that goes after cats.
Right.
And so the case that he does, it's the case of Fluffy. So, but to tell that story and to be able to have it from our real world to dreamland to introducing these other characters that we've never seen before that will be appearing in our next book, it's just these like little Easter eggs like kind of putting in there. But I try to you know, with both the book you have behind you and the Curious Case, there's a lot of text. And the thing that I've been learning since those books is, for one, I now have an editor, which is great. A comic editor actually too, because he really helps me formulate everything into the panels.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But also just seeing how much my artists can parlay all my ideas into the panel, as opposed to me just scribbling words, you know. And so that's been awesome. Just trying to do that, and it's been difficult, but we've been able to make it work. And then for the Reanimator story, we have a new series that we're testing out called the Miskatonic 7, and that takes place with our character Ward Lovecraft, and it's a different Ward in a different universe, and he's recruiting you know, basically like public domain characters in our world, you know. But so the first story is him kind of recruiting the Black Terror, from the character from the 1940s. He was like one of the first Superman created in the comics back in the day. And, you know, we gave him his own origin and so on and so forth. But just trying to make that whole story into 6 pages is tough, but it was a lot of fun. And I think we'll see how the fans react, but I think we're able to make it work, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I completely understand what you're saying, because there's a fine dance in trying to get the story the way you want to be said, at the same time not putting too many words in the comic, because you know you have to, you know, you don't want to fill up the panels cover the art or anything. It's a nice dance of trying to figure out what you need to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I don't know how you guys do it, but what I love doing is, once I give the script to the artists, I've worked with most of these guys, been with me 10 or 12 years, so it's like they're my right hand. So it's one of those things where once it gets to them, I just kind of let them run free with it. And they, you know, I've given the reference, I give them all the direction and everything they have in the script, and, you know, they'll come with me questions. But then once I start getting the pages, I start looking at it going, okay, this is great, it's coming together. But I'll never touch the script again until the letterer sends me the first lettering pass. And that's usually 6 months down the line. So by the time I get it, it's like, it's awesome, because then I could take everything that I wrote originally a year ago, whenever, strip it all down and almost start from scratch and go, okay, I only need to say this thing, or I need to do that thing. And I just love that aspect of it, you know.
I agree with you. I love the aspect of the fact that you this is what I wrote first. This is what the art's telling me. And then at the end you go, okay, so now I don't need to say this because it's in the art.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it's the best example is in a movie where they're about to do something, but they say they're going to do it, and then they do it. You know, exactly. You don't need to do that in a panel, you know,
unless you are, and then that all makes sense, because you go, I'm going to walk over there, I'm going to hit her.
Right. But even in comics, though, I mean, that's the tough thing at comics, is you got to whittle that stuff down too, because you want to be able to get enough information out, but also, you know, keep the noir going of it, you know. Yeah. So.
But it is funny, because in film you can get away with that. In comedy, you know, it'll be a little redundant to do, unless you're doing a comedy type of thing.
Yeah, I'm going to the next panel. This is what I'm going to see as I open it. Yeah.
Charles, I know you've been working on your book, and how was it for you to try to figure out the balance of the writing it and the art and all that stuff?
Yeah, so maybe it might be a little easier, since I'm doing the writing and the art. So what I do is I write my script out. Then I kind of start working in like little small thumbnails. So I want to kind of go off my script, just kind of see how I want the page layouts to be, how I want the general look of the page. So it's very general. Then I go back in and I start doing larger thumbnails. Then I can start thinking along the lines of what details I might want to put into a page. Then I convert that onto the Bristol boards. So I'm getting all that thinking process as far as, you know, how I'm going to pace the story. That's all kind of going along with the thumbnails. And then when I get to the scripting part, I do kind of similar to what DW said, you know, once I get the pages kind of in there and the art's finished and I'm getting ready to letter the book, getting the book lettered, I go back and I say, oh, I might need to add something here, or I might need to take something out, or maybe the art's telling us this, so I need to, you know, put a little more information right here. Maybe it's not telling me enough. You know, so that's kind of what I do. You know, it's really exciting at that point, because you're kind of saying, okay, I'm taking this written script and I'm actually creating the final product of what it's going to really say, and using the story of the art to tell the story, as well as the words as a combination. So
I have to admit, I feel like you have a one up on both of us because since you're the artist too, you actually start to figure out how and what words you're gonna need for the book itself.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I already have the idea. So since I'm one person, I kind of already know. I don't have to try to convey something. So maybe that's more difficult. I don't know. I think it might be. I mean, I have cover artists, so I try to convey to them what I might want to see on a cover. Which that's just like one drawing or one thing. So yeah, I think what you guys the way y'all do it, it'd be a challenge for me to do. It's different.
Well, it's funny because we learned, when we're talking about trying to keep it to a certain page count. So with our other series, Zadar the Savage, I wanted to stick around 32 pages or at 32 pages. And so we finished the first book and we liked it. We thought it was like, we had gone over it again, everybody had gone over it. We liked it. We thought it worked. And then we're sitting on it. And my co-writer, Ryan, said to me, he goes, we need this one other page in there. We just need it because the action just happens too quick. We just need this one page of him getting from A to B. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're right. We do need that. So, but the book had already been printed for the first run. So, we didn't do that many, runoffs, but still, so we're like, okay, so we paid the artist, got it done, put it in there. And you know what? Worked out 100% better. So it was just like that 5%. It was just like, what? It was missing something. And then that solved it. But we could have avoided that if we had caught that earlier. But it's just one of those things that just happens every once in a while.
Yeah, it does. It just happens because, you're working on the book, you see things a certain way. But see, sometimes you don't know until after the fact because you need that to happen to know, well, I think we need this.
Yeah, because once you got it in front of you and you're actually physically going through it, you're reading it going, oh, you know what? I need to slow the reader down just a little bit right here, And it's funny how that changes a little bit just between the translation of when you're doing, stuff like what we're talking about by talking to, whether it's yourself or translating to other folks, but then, you finally have the final say, when you actually have it in your hands too. So you get to go over it one more time.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what's kind of cool about the indie aspect is if we do screw up like this, we don't have that many. We don't have thousands of issues. We got maybe 25, maybe 100. It's once we get rid of those, we can, fix the issue in the printing.
As a collector, you want those 25 issues.
Yeah, exactly. Look, they're signed. Bonus. Yeah,
it's signed.
Yeah,
woo!
Exactly. No, I love it. It's good for the cons.
Exactly. And that's the good thing about being independent is the fact that it kind of the game is a little different for the independents. It's a little more fun. It's a lot more hard work, but you get to have a little more fun with it, and you can actually fix it on the fly. Unlike the bigger guys who pull out all those tons of books, and for them to fix something, it's a major thing.
Oh right, yeah, exactly.
Speaking of mistakes, here I am putting in Hagar. He's been there in the side for a bit. Hey Hagar, good to see you.
Good to see you.
What's up, Harry?
What's going on?
Hey there, nice to meet you.
So let's go to the videotape and see what the beautiful footage shows us.
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 3. Yeah! You're hanging with the wrong crowd. You like your music loud. Sometimes you want an album and tell a story. It's gonna be hard, it's gonna be hot. You're up in that dark. Your glory is primal. You dominate what is the final. Darkside Records.
Now available on Kickstarter.
Dude, that was classic, man.
Yeah.
I
You know
saw
what's
this
funny?
thing earlier, and I was like, "Oh, I love that."
Thanks, man. You know what's funny is that I make a lot of little animated videos for my things, and this one has actually has more views than any of my other videos ever, which I think is hysterical. So,
It has to be a funny for you because I feel like this one is like, oh, let's just put this together. It's like it's still well done, but at the same time, it's like hey, let's have some fun with it.
Yeah,
it's my composer Mars. He's working on the radio drama with me, and I used to make a lot of films back in the day, so he had worked with me on back then, and so and he used to be in metal bands back in the day as well. So he was like, I got this idea. Remember the old power records from the 70s? I'm like, yeah. He's like, let's just make it as if Thrisong is this Norwegian, Scandinavian band from the 80s, dark metal, like Lost album. I'm like, yeah, all right. So he sent me that track, and I was like, this is hysterical.
Oh my God, it was great. So, like, dude, man, that's the way to sell it.
Yeah, no, I just figured, what the hell, something fun,
Oh, and I like the Lost track from 1983. Come on.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun with it. So.
Oh my God! So you're at 6,709. You're funded already. You have 148 backers. Whoa. And you still got 40 days to go. So that's really good because you're funded. You have 40 days to go. That's more of a okay. Let's get some more money in there instead of we need to fund.
Yeah, right. Yeah, been there. Don't want to do that again. Yeah, no, I figured I wanted to do this one, a long one, because we've got not only do we have the comic and the variants, but we also have the radio drama, which you see there, that we're doing, which is an extended version of the book, soundtracks on the back, and then we also have a magnetic vinyl kit that's painted, done, and will be manufactured. At the end of the campaign of the Dr. Herbert West, the Reanimator. So we get a lot on the campaign other than just the books. So that's why we wanted to try to raise up, more than what our goal is.
Combination, of stuff put together. I've been seeing a couple of Kickstarters a couple of books where they actually have soundtracks to the books. And I've always thought that's a great idea because in my head, when I was a kid reading comics, there was a soundtrack.
Right. Right.
So to me, it makes total sense.
Right. Yeah, no, it's something we wanted to do for a long time. And we feel, with the Lovecraft stuff, it works. And, being able to kind of broaden the story more than what we just put in the pages of the book, we thought it'd be a lot more, just a lot of fun. And so Mars put together a group of guys out in the West Coast, and they finished recording. I think we've only got one more piece to do, and then he's already starting to mix, and we'll final it soon enough.
Yeah, and this thing looks fantastic. It's like that again. It has a noir feel to it, even with the little bits we saw there in the video. I was like, "Ooh, okay, yeah, I like this. I like the vibe it has."
Thanks. Yeah, we wanted to take Sebastian Sala, who does the artwork for us on the interiors here. His artwork is a lot more dramatic than what we've done in the past for the characters. But for Reanimator, we felt it kind of worked because of who he is as a character himself.
Right.
And this story picks up with Detective Ward Lovecraft and Herbert West as college buddies at the Miskatonic University back in 1914. And this is an experiment that they're both working on that kind of gets out of hand. So I wanted to kind of make it almost like a Peaky Blinders, meets Reanimator, kind of fun, turn of the century type of caper.
Yeah, it's so funny because it has that feel to it. Then on top of it, it has that 70s horror movie feel to it.
Right. Well, I'm a big Hammer fan. I like Peter. Yeah, you give me Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee together in a movie, man, I'm sold. So it's like I definitely was channeling those guys.
Oh, I can feel it, man. As I was looking through all the stuff, I'm like, dude, I can feel this book. I can feel how you feel that nice 70s horror movie. You feel that noir feeling from the 50s. Oh, it's just fantastic.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, no, that's what we tried to aim for. I mean, we're big fans of this stuff, so it's, I like to see that, carry through since we don't really see any of that type of stuff anymore.
No.
So
yeah, you're right. I feel like it's got a lost art, and people find it too campy or something like that. And I'm like, dude, but this is excellent, And I was just telling Charles, right now I'm working on a film where we have a 70s feel to it, but it's set in modern times. And I like that aspect of things because, we all know the 70s was that cool, especially for an action movie, was that cool type of urban action, a blast to watch. It always reminds me of the Warriors, where, I feel like if they redid the Warriors, they would have to do it in the 70s and still have that feel to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, yeah, because if somebody was just like kick-ass characters.
There was a lot of wild pictures back then.
Oh, definitely, man. And you can tell these guys were badass, you know. And you were just waiting for the curse. You were waiting for whatever else was going on. It's a feel. It's a whole aspect of cinema, of comic books, of everything. That 70s just had its thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was definitely a lot more. I feel like raw, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Tangible, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. And
yeah. So this. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You're about to say?
No, I was just gonna. You have the our character Herbert up there.
That's
so
what I was going to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's all painted. I have the prototype that I've been bringing to shows with me, and people seem to be really digging him. His head and his arms and everything are magnetic, so he pops together in about 10 seconds after he comes out of the package.
Nice.
And we have a couple of higher priced tiers where you can create your own head, where it's either a monster head or you can literally make your own face and put it on there, and we can do that too. So
that's really
so once this campaign ends, we're going to go and we'll start making these in production.
Dude,
and they'll be out.
Man, the details on this thing, you know, and the fact that you can actually make it the way you want to make it, that just makes it even better.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I have a animator, and he's a he's a digital sculptor, and he does a lot of my 3D stuff that we're working on for an animated piece that we're doing. But what he also does is when I have him design a character, I have him make one, clone for the animation stuff, and then we do another clone for the model side. Right. So then, because it has to be tweaked a certain way. So then, that's what's kind of neat about this aspect of it, is be able to make it so precise. And then the company that I'm dealing with that's manufacturing them, they came to me because I thought this was just going to be one piece except for the heads, and they're like, "No, we'll make it all magnetic." So when they sent it to me, I was like, "Wow, this is kind of wild. I've never had a magnetic, a kit before, and I have a lot of kits, so it was kind of neat to see them just pop together like that and be stable."
That is neat, and the fact that you go bloop bloop bloop, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, and he's done. He's all painted up, ready to go. So that's what's kind of neat about him, and just and he's not very tall. He's 1/10 scale, so he's not overwhelming.
Amazing, man. It's not like oh look, man, it's a figure, and it looks kind of cheesy, but no, this thing actually looks really good.
Yeah, I get a lot of folks digging at it when they see it at shows because they can look at it up close.
Oh, that definitely. You really put a lot of stuff out there for this Kickstarter.
Yeah, I wanted to do something a little different. I've been working on this book for a while, and I wanted to do something kind of along the lines of with the power record, and then also the kid, because I think for one, Reanimator only has one other figure. It's the Jeffrey Combs figure that's kicking around. There's a couple of those, and so since our character is our own character based off the Reanimator book or story, I kind of wanted to just create our own line of figures and stuff that we're working on coming out.
And I have to admit, I love radio dramas. I was listening to them when I was a kid. I still listen to some now. What made you decide to go with the radio drama, besides the fact that it fits into the the whole time period?
Yeah, I think the first ones I ever listened to when I was a kid was back in the right after Star Wars came out, they had on the radio, they did like a radio hour, and it was the Star Wars movie. It was the original script done on the radio, and to tune into that, when it was on, because it was once a week, I think on Sundays, and they'd only do it for an hour, so you wouldn't catch the whole thing because it always had cliffhangers. Right. So even though you saw Star Wars, as a kid in the theater, and then you're coming home a year later and you're getting on the radio. Plus, what they had done is they had tweaked it a little bit as well. So between that and then just after that, got me into listening to like old radio dramas like The Shadow, Sherlock Holmes, and those type of things as a kid. Yeah, so it just I don't know. It's always been there, I guess. So I felt like the story kind of worked with being able to happen. Yeah.
That's great, no, because it makes sense to me too. Like I can just see it. It like, oh, because I saw it and go, that makes sense.
Thanks. Yeah. We're not going to do it with all our stuff, but we figured with at least this one, we'll see how it does. And so far, people seem to be really digging it. And we put a clip up there to just a quick little edited version, so people can kind of see what we're working on. But I always try to, with my Kickstarters, I try to have everything either done or within the 80 percentile of being completed, so that it doesn't take too long for people to get them.
Makes sense, and it does make a quick rollover so people can get what they want.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's great about the PDFs. You can send those out
right away.
within 48 hours.
Exactly.
You know?
As soon as it funds, boop, boop, boop. I mean, well, not funds,
Yep.
but, you know, as soon
Merry
as
Christmas.
the whole thing's over.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I see you guys put a lot of work into this. This is I'm so amazed at how much, how many pieces are moving around.
Thanks. Yeah, we wanted to give everybody, you know, kind of, if they, you know, maybe they don't want the book and they just want a T-shirt, maybe they just want the radio drama, you know. So we wanted to kind of give everybody an option, so it's not just for comic fans. It's kind of, you know, it's a little fan shop for everybody.
Oh, definitely. Like I can see that if you're into sci-fi, you're like, oh, let's you know, this is about 10 different ways you can go onto this.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
If you're into noir, there's a couple of ways you can go into it. You know, if you're into horror, there's a couple of ways you can. I can see it. Nice covers.
Thanks.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, we're doing new wraparound covers now for all our books too. Our artist, whoever does our illustrations for the inside, I always let them do a wraparound cover now. So we're doing that for each of our books that comes out, which is
cool,
you know, a lot of fun for them.
Oh, I can see why.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's just so much happening here. There's so much to enjoy.
Thanks. Yeah, then we just have, and then actually it was kind of great, Marvelous videos. I don't know if you guys follow them or not. Last week when we launched, I sat down and turned on my YouTube and this video popped up and it was about them. They're reading my book. I was like, holy cow. And so, you know, so I wrote it. I was like, guys, I don't know what to say. Thank you. This really is awesome. You know, so it definitely helped with some sales.
Oh, pretty cool. I'm gonna have to take a listen to it or look or whatever. Oh, so, man.
Yeah, then we have our little add-on section, which is most of our stuff.
There's just so much to do here. Oh, it's just dude, yeah, you're really doing a good job with all this. And I'm guessing you're giving a chance for people to get the other books as well.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Yeah, during it for our add-ons, you know, all the books are available, whether PDF, hardcover, or softcover.
That's pretty decent. You know, so, I always like any campaign that, you know, if they have other stuff, they add it to it, or you're able to get it. It makes life easier, especially if you're like, oh, I like this, I want to get more stuff. You know, you don't have to wait for like another Kickstarter.
Well, I discontinue stuff too. Is once, you know, certain things like some of my coins I've discontinued. So it's which was actually kind of fun because I had a guy at a show I was at last weekend show up and he had a coin. He presented a coin. He's like, oh, I still have my coin, and it's one I discontinued a couple of years ago. So he was super psyched. So
I gotta admit, when I saw you at Terrificon and I ended up getting the badge, it was just fantastic. You know, it felt like I was in a nice little 50s detective place myself. I'm like, you see my badge? Oh, and that's right. You also have that little wallet. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we actually sold out of those in this campaign. I was super happy about that. I was pretty shocked.
I can see why though, because this is just like almost nostalgia in a way.
Well, I was, you know, I'm sure you guys were growing up, you know, remember the old in the cereal boxes, you get the little prize or whatever. And it's like, and then you can send it on the back and get something else. And to me, I just wanted to do that, but, you know, make it more boutique and a little more expensive than just a plastic toy. So you get the metal badge.
Dude, the quality, you know, I have to admit, the quality, like, it's just amazing. It's not something that's cheesy, is going to break apart. This thing's built to last. Thank you.
Yeah, no, we found a good place. And we, you know, with all manufacturing, you have your, you know, ups and downs. But the people that have been working on my projects with me for over the years have been pretty awesome. You know, everybody's been coming through with 100%.
All right, we got a question over here. Jason Lennox says, will your new song be available on vinyl?
Yes. I think we're going to add that to since it's Thrice Sung is popular, it will be on the vinyl.
And of course, Philip Russell is going, hey, Charles.
Hey, Philip, what's up, man?
And this here is your books, right? Berserker?
Yeah, this is the Berserker Soul Island. So we're up to book 6 right now. 7 will roll out hopefully next January if once I get this previous Kickstarter or current Kickstarter done.
Right. which is where the way it should be. Move from Kickstarter to Kickstarter.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man,
So.
you got a really good Kickstarter going on here. You know, I have people. I can see why you are already funded, and I hope that people are looking at this and going, "Dude, I got to get this."
Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, that's our Berserker 7, which is it's probably one of our most brutal books out of the series. It's yeah, we won. I felt very Village of the Damned on that one.
Yeah, I can see it.
So
I like the fact that, you know, it's almost like you call back to other horrors, you know, other medias, other things that we've seen before, and you know, people like that stuff.
yeah, no, it's Corlin Kruger, who does our Berserker. He does all our Berserker covers. He's does a lot of pulp. Like all his artwork is very pulp, drive-in theater type, you know, style. So, you know, when I was looking for a cover artist, I wanted somebody to kind of almost reminiscent of like the old eerie and creepy, you know, magazines from back in the day to give that 70s kind of vibe. So when I saw his stuff, I was like, yeah, he nails it. So yeah, I kind of like that.
This totally has.
You know.
That
yeah,
vibe,
like what the heck is going on there?
Exactly.
You know, so
but it does remind me of those 70s, that type of movie that you're talking about in the 70s. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that could be the poster for Christine Part 6, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
But,
dude, you guys have a lot of great stuff, a lot of good books. It looks like you cover a lot of different places.
Yeah, we're jumping around. I mean, Lovecraft, he's just a lot of fun to, our character anyways, he's a lot of fun to kind of just plop in and out of certain circumstances since, you know, he's a private investigator or paranormal investigator, I should say. So dropping him in at the Dreamlands or, you know, in 2012, it kind of works. So.
Oh, definitely. And it looks like so much fun. There we go. And we got to the end of it there. But you definitely have a lot of stuff in there. You have an amazing Kickstarter going.
Thank you.
And the quality. We have Eric here saying that you rock, Charles.
Thank you, man. That's my brother. I paid him to come on and say that. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man. It's always good to have family who's not trying to bring us down.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
All right, so people out there, they don't know about your Reanimator. They don't know about your world, your universe. Oh, how do you get them in? How do you bring them in? Go ahead, throw your spiel out there.
Yeah, so you can find us on darksidemedia.us, lovecraftpi.com. We're on Instagram as under lovecraftpi or Darkside Media, as well as Twitter, Facebook. We're under Darkside Media, and we're on Kickstarter. If you just type us in under Reanimator or Lovecraft, you'll find us pretty quickly.
Which the good thing is that when you type you guys in, it's an easy find.
Oh yeah, and I love QR codes. So QR codes appear in everything now.
Oh yeah, they make life easier, especially when you got an iPhone.
Oh yeah. So
you know, Android does it too. So before people start sending me the hate, Philip Russer says both creators are awesome. I totally agree with you, Phil. I wanted to have
Thank you,
both
Phil.
on at the same time because you do just noir. It sounded great to me, and I feel like there's not enough noir out there. You know, especially like there seems to be a resurgence happening now with the noir feel to it. You know, especially like with characters like Constantine, and you know, there's just a boom in a noir feel. You know, it may not be completely noir, but you're there. You know, and my favorite Batman was always the noir Batman. So you know,
right.
You know, the detective Batman.
The detective Batman. Yep. Yeah.
You know, not the weird Batman with all the, you know, I'm a superhero. I'm like, look, Batman. Go fight your villains, all right? So what's in the future for Darkside Media?
So I have my first con that I'm launching March 10th and 11th, 2023 in Rhode Island, Providence. Rhode Island, the first night is going to be at the Providence Art Club. We're doing like a gallery showing with about 20, 25 artists there. And they've been kind enough to allow us to do tours of the Fleur de Lis, which is in H.P. Lovecraft's Call of Cthulhu story.
Nice.
So we're doing that during cocktail hour from 5 to 8. I'm sorry. And then on Saturday, right up the road in Plainville, Massachusetts, we're doing at a casino, Park Ridge Casino. We have a day of vendors. So it's about 45 vendors are coming out, and it's the Crawling Chaos Con. So it's we're making our way, so it's 2 days of 2 days of fun and artists. And I wanted to, with the gallery thing, I wanted to be able to present a lot of the guys that'll be at the show, present them in a different light. I think it's good to see new artists in a gallery setting like that, and especially guys that do what we do, which may not get a lot of gallery showings out there. So I think it's a nice opportunity, and I think people will have a good time.
Right, and I said that because I wanted you to bring that up, because I was like, I'm impressed. You actually got yourself your own con going. And I already know from helping people on their cons that that's just a lot of work.
Yeah, no, it's I don't know why. I mean, it was one of those things I've been wanting to do for a while, and then an opportunity, actually right after Terrificon, came to me, and I said, you know what, the universe is just telling me this is the time to do it, to pull the trigger. So, yeah, so that's what we're doing. There it is. Yeah, we wanted to call it the Crawling Chaos Con because I go to a lot of different shows, whether it's Comic-Con shows or steampunk shows or Lovecraft shows, but everybody I feel is always kind of like in their own little court. And so what this show does is I'm trying to bridge a bunch of that. So between networking at a lot of these shows that I do, I reach out to a lot of folks that I hang with there, and so I've got I think I've actually, as of right now, I've got at least 10 tables already off and ready to go. So with artists that will be uploading this week. So it's one of those things that's, I don't know, it's an experiment. We'll see how it goes, but I'm really excited about it. It's something I've been wanting to do for a long, long time. I used to do film festivals and run those. So to me, running a con like this is kind of a nice, it's different, but the same,
It's funny that you say that, because I feel like, in a way, comics and film have a unique place where they're very similar to each other, especially when the script format comes in. It may be a little different, but at the same time, you technically have a script for both.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. You see, you got basically a book of storyboards, in a lot of ways. I mean, maybe abbreviated in some, but yeah, I mean, exactly. And I used to work in film. So for me, it's one of those things. I have a love of film, and then I got into comics, and now I just kind of like to have the, kind of mesh those both worlds. And so with this first one, we're doing it as a gallery, and then the con, and then we're working on another show, but we'll see if that comes together. And if it does, that will actually take place in an old movie theater. So, I would really love to see that one get off the ground too, because I think doing a movie theater show with a con, I think would be super fun.
Oh, dude, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
people posted on that. Yeah, I can see it. It's like old 50s feel. A nice theme type of con. Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just something a little different out there. I mean, I know COVID hit a lot of cons, and then there's still some cons that are still out there that are still making it. But I just saw an opportunity that I thought I could maybe fill a gap that isn't there.
I have to admit, like I said, I know how difficult it is to put a con together, and more power to you, bro.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah. Well, ask me about it at the end of it. So.
Oh my God. All right. So hopefully it'll all go well. We'll stay in touch. We'll stay posted.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
If we can, we'll even try to make it out there, but we'll see.
Yeah. Right. No, I appreciate it.
All right. So, Charles, let the people know one more time where they can find you, a little bit about your stuff. So because I see we're at that hour mark.
Okay, yes, I'm Charles W. Morgan. I have a modern crime noir thriller called Cold Cutter #1, and it stars Dylan Cutter, who is a private investigator, and he has a situation going on where his brother was murdered, and he's at a very low place in his life when the book starts at page 1. And it picks right up into some action. We don't do a lot of talking heads. Right in the very beginning, we get right to it. Got action to it. We're it's a story that I'm really passionate about. I really believe the story is what drives it. You know, the art I believe in as well. So you can find me on Facebook, Charles W. Morgan. Find me on Instagram at Charles.5, and I'm on Twitter as well. Just not as frequent on there. So, and of course on Kickstarter, you can find Cold Cutter on Kickstarter, and don't miss out on it.
There you have it, folks. And of course, DW one more time, so people can make sure to come and check you out.
Yes, you could find us on darksidemedia.us and Lovecraft PI, and then we're on social media under both those as well.
There you go. That's the website right there where you can find them. You know, right now the Kickstarter is going, so that's the best place to go. Support. And remember, folks, dude, even if you're supporting for $1, that helps a lot. You know, it doesn't sound like much, but it helps a lot. You know, and at the same time, if you can't support, you know, maybe you're low on funds or whatever, you can always share. Sharing is important, people, because when you share it, you might find somebody that can actually purchase the book or do something with it, or even share it themselves. And the more it gets out there, the more word is out there, the more possibilities it is that the book will make more money.
Sharing is always good.
Exactly. Sharing is caring.
That's right. Well, appreciate it.
And it's so funny because a lot of people always come up to me. It's like, what can I do? I'm like, dude, just share it. You know, it's
super helpful.
It doesn't sound like much, but it's so much.
It really is. Puts it out there in front of the people, you know, in front of more eyes.
Yeah, and that's important. Yeah. You know, that's why companies will spend millions of dollars on freaking advertising. Tell you something.
Yeah, exactly.
So Hagar, anything you want to say?
Well, Nathan's not here. Support Floof Schmalo.
I will be at Baltimore Comic-Con this weekend too.
Oh, that's good. That's
coming
good
up
to know, because
yes,
now people we got a bunch of people that we know going down to Baltimore. So
that we do.
Cool.
We definitely do.
Yeah, it's my first time. I'm going with my buddy Jason Lennox from Lords of the Cosmos, so it's
dude,
I'm sure it's going to be a party.
Baltimore is amazing. It's just one of those fun cons, you know, very friendly, very you're gonna have fun.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Let's see. Cover of Darkness Kickstarter is still got 2 weeks. Our friend Dirk Manning just put up the pre-launch page for the Art Anderson comic this morning. Yeah,
there you go. All right, folks. Oh, well, speaking of cons, then you guys might as well say it. I don't know if you're going to start hitting the cons yet, Charles, but you know, if you guys are, you might want to tell people where they can find you, because sometimes people want to meet you in person.
Yeah. So I plan to hit some cons in 2023 after this book comes out. So, you know, I don't know if I'm gonna be at many major cons, but I'm gonna start out, you know, at some smaller cons here around Atlanta to start with.
Smaller cons, Atlanta. That sounds like an oxymoron.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big market, I guess. But, I mean, yeah, there's some cons here that happen about once every 3 months. So I'll probably start there, and then I'll probably try to move out from that point as we get more books, you know, and things like that. Maybe 2024, I'll try to get over to Heroes Con or something like that if I can get an invite.
Good con.
Or find a way to get in. But
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. We just try to get your name out there. You know, I tell people the same thing. Hit as many places as you can. You don't know if you're going to get in or not, so you might as well try.
Right. Just try, you know, and that's my plan. Just kind of get out there as I can and get in front of people. Exactly.
And I know you're in Baltimore after that. Do you know where you're going? DW?
Me? Yeah, I'm going to Rhode Island Comic Con. I'll be there the following weekend.
That's important to say too.
Oh yeah, no.
We got a couple people going up to Rhode Island as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I figured I'll do the last 2 of the year will be those 2 biggies.
Those are biggies. Those are two of the big ones in the East Coast. You know, Baltimore and Rhode Island. And Rhode Island, I feel like it's the last one of the year, where one of the last big ones of the year.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm on the concourse too, so it's I'll be between the two venues, which is good. So
that's great. There you have it, folks. You know, you can find them at the conventions. You can find them at the Kickstarters. Do yourself a favor, pick up both of these books. They're amazing. You guys just finished saying how amazing Reanimator is with all the extras, and I can tell you that our pal Charles has a Kickstarter and a half over there, and you want to, especially if you love a nice noir detective comic.
Yep.
So that's Cold Cutter and Reanimator. Go check them out. And of course, folks, I'll do what I always do. I'll press the button, and where it stops, nobody knows.